In this video, we're going to talk about the first part of Chapter 8 and just do a quick introduction into hydrocarbons. So this chapter on hydrocarbons focuses in on a topic we call organic chemistry. So what is organic chemistry, and what does the word organic mean to you? Take a minute and think about that. In our everyday lives, we hear the word organic when it has to do with food quite a bit, so buying organic foods. A lot of times people think they're better for you, call them all natural, eco-friendly, different things like that. For chemistry, organic means something very different. Organic means that your molecule contains carbon atoms. So here's an example of an organic molecule. It's a very large molecule, and we'll talk about this way of drawing molecules in a later video for this chapter. But one thing to note about this is one of the most toxic substances known. So it's organic, it has a bunch of carbon atoms, but that does not make it a quote-unquote good molecule. So whenever you hear the word organic along with chemistry, you just need to think that your molecules contain carbon. It has nothing to do with whether or not they are good for you or bad for you. So the official definition of organic chemistry is the area of chemistry that focuses on molecules that contain carbon. So you would think if our molecules had to have this very specific element in them, that they would be limited in numbers, but actually there's about 10 million known molecules and 90% of them are organic. So there must be something about carbon that makes it extra special. And what that is carbon has the ability to make lots of different types of bonds. So the key for carbon is carbon always wants 4 bonds. And when you're doing things for this chapter, it will always have 4 bonds. So Lewis structures from back in chapter 7, sometimes carbon had 4 bonds, but when we're dealing with our hydrocarbons, it will always have 4 bonds. So there's several different ways that carbon can get 4 bonds. And one way is to have 4 single bonds. Another way is to have 2 single bonds and 1 double bond. Could have 2 double bonds, or 1 single bond and 1 triple bond. So again, we've got a variety of ways that carbon can achieve its full octet, getting 4 bonds. So here's kind of a breakdown of the different hydrocarbons we're going to look at, or different organic molecules. So if we start at the top and look at organic as a category, we can break that down into 2 types. Hydrocarbons, which is what we will talk about in this chapter, and I apologize, this is cut off over here on the other side. This says functionalized hydrocarbons, and that's what chapter 9 would have covered, which we are skipping this time around. But functionalized hydrocarbons are hydrocarbons that also have atoms like oxygen and nitrogen. Hydrocarbons have only hydrogen and carbon atoms in them. So there's 4 different types. We can have alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. Those are the 3 we will talk about. And then the last option are called aromatics, which we won't really cover in this chapter. These formulas that you see for the alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes, we will discuss more when we get to each topic. So the next few videos we'll talk about one at a time, starting with alkanes.